Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Morning, Kenzie on Q101. And apologize for the delay on giving you this information and get the thoughts together on this. Of a couple days ago, the quarter disappeared from our studio. After 6 years, we flipped the quarter to see who goes first in Clash with Kenzie every day. Get you on the phones at 7:10. We flip the quarter when we do the competition around 7:30. And it's been sitting here openly because I thought, maybe I'm naive, that I was in a safe space here and all of my friends, Lauren, Brian Phillips, Joey Dominic, Dougie Stiles, Lou Lombardo, Kevin, and Lindsay Marie were all people of honor and would leave the quarter there, understanding the show. And I don't want to take a quarter home every day. I might forget to bring it one day. And so for over 6 years, 6 years, 3 months, we've used that quarter. And then 2 days ago, it disappeared. It was gone. Had to use a nickel.
Ugh.
Which we found out when you flip a nickel, it's not the same as flipping a quarter.
Totally different.
One's worth 25 cents and one's worth 5 cents.
It's rough. The whole thing.
Different.
The whole thing.
Whole thing's different. So all of a sudden, first off, we put a poll on Facebook to see what you, the listeners, thought who stole the quarter. We have the results of that poll now in a 24-hour poll. And Kevin came in first. Of people thinking that Kevin stole it.
Yeah, which all the evidence points to him stealing it. Every part of his personality points to him stealing it. It was a Reagan Mondale-esque victory for Kevin. Just he cleaned up in the competition.
That's a 25-year-old guy pulling a Reagan Mondale reference.
We're a hip morning show, baby. We keep it young and trendy.
Now, the reason I think Kevin's a suspect is he's filling in this week for Lindsay Marie, who's off. So his schedule changes all the time. You hear him on the weekends.
And Lindsay's been respectful.
Clearly.
Okay.
Clearly.
That's her middle name, Lindsay Respectful Marie.
Yep.
Period.
Exactly.
And Kevin comes in one day and gets little sticky fingers, okay?
Yes.
And it's gone.
It's gone after 6.5 years, almost. I'm going to keep adding time to the years. How long is it? We're doing this show.
18 years that quarter's been there.
That's right. Left over from the sludge days when I was here in afternoons 20 years ago.
And everybody was respectful. They moved that quarter from Merchandise Mart where you were then to NBC Tower. Now they knew it was your quarter.
They had a special King's edition with horses and a carriage to bring the quarter over from the Merchandise Mart to NBC Tower.
Everybody remembers the police escort that drove it over. It was a big deal.
Caused a big traffic jam.
And everyone respected it.
That's right.
They liked it.
No one complained about the traffic problem. So Kevin came in number one. Lauren came in number two. Brian Phillips and Dougie seemed to tie in the poll.
Okay.
And Joey Dominic and Lou, very low. Lou is the last place, which is a good place to be in this poll.
Absolutely.
Trustworthy guy.
Lou's a nice guy, a respectful guy.
And since Lindsay was off, she's not a suspect.
Alibi.
Or is that what we want to think?
It's the perfect crime. You want to cover up.
It's like Ocean's 11. How about this quarter being gone? So that's what you decided, that Kevin took the quarter. Now, yesterday afternoon, Lauren comes in, attempt to clear her name on Facebook, and takes a picture, all caps. The quarter has been here the whole time, and puts a quarter right next to the phones where I used to keep the quarter. I'm here to tell you, there is a quarter. We flipped it a little bit ago. This is not the quarter.
It's a different quarter.
It's a different quarter.
You think Lauren planted the quarter yesterday in an effort to make you look like a fool?
Correct. And among other ways, she tried to make me look like a fool the whole time here. So the quarter...
Because I was upset when I saw this because I threatened to hit somebody with my car. And if the quarter was there the whole time, Brian, do you see the problem with
Yes.
that? Okay.
You'd be in jail otherwise for doing something that was not true.
Right.
I mean, you have other things you might go to jail for, writing people with their car, but, not Lauren for doing that.
Right.
So this is not the quarter because I knew my quarter after 28 years having that quarter here in the studio. And this quarter was a 1796 draped bust small eagle quarter. And I kept it in here not telling people the value of this quarter.
And what was it called again?
It's a 1796 draped bust small eagle quarter.
Okay. Obviously, I know what that means. But for the people that don't, maybe people that aren't up to date on their quarters, can you explain that?
Only 600 were made.
Mm-hmm.
I got this from the Thornton's gas station up in Northbrook.
Naturally.
Well, I was buying an ice cream Twix bar. I got some gas.
During the weight loss challenge.
It's right at Lake Cook Road. It's the cheapest gas because it's on the north side of the road. It's not Cook County gas. It's Lake County gas.
Really?
So it drops 50 cents to just go over the street. It's incredible. Everybody should do that if they live up there. I don't live up there, so I knew what I was doing. I went up there and got it there.
There you go. All right, so you're feeling good.
I'm feeling good. And then this quarter, one of them sold for $1.7 million just a couple years ago in an auction.
And that's the quarter you've been using for 35 years to flip for Clash with Kenzie.
1,000%.
Wow.
How much is that again?
1.7 million it went for in an auction.
If I know Kevin, he has that. He's good for it.
Yes.
Kevin's a big quarter collector. It was like, oh, that's the bald eagle, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I got to get that.
Now, the quarter that's in here, and I look at it carefully with my magnifying glass, is a 2003 quarter.
Oh, 2003 quarters are awful. One of my least favorite years of quarter.
Off the bat, you know it's not worth as much.
No.
2003. Come on.
I'm actually going to Google that real quick. Well, I know we're on the air, but what is a 2003 quarter worth?
I really love that statement. I know we're on the air. I'm excited for your awareness that we're live on the radio.
My guess, by the way, is a 2003 quarter is worth 25 cents.
So,
How'd you come to that?
because it's not a 1796 quarter, a 1796 draped bust small eagle quarter.
One of my favorites.
So a 2003 quarter, this measly little quarter I have in my hand, is worth between 30 and 40 cents.
So no, it's not, because it's a quarter, so it's worth 25
No,
cents.
no. It's apparently a coin aficionado, which I've contacted a coin collector before we did this. They'll give you
So-
5 or 20 cents profit.
The other one was worth 1.7 million. Is that what you said?
Yeah, because there were only 600 made.
Okay, so take about 20 cents off of that because he returned a quarter that was worth more than a normal quarter. So he owes you 20 cents less than $1.7 million.
So 1.69999990 cents.
80 cents, right?
80-ish cents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
no, because the quarter itself's 25, and then you add 20-ish to it's worth 40 cents. Take 40 cents off.
God, I got a
So
headache.
60 cents.
So we have a quarter in studio. Lauren says the quarter was here the whole time. Brian disagrees. He says this is a different quarter than the one I was using. If the quarter that you were using, which is the $1 million quarter, and there is no disputing that, we all think you were using $1 million quarter to flip and clash with Kenzie.
What do you think, you would lie about something like
Come
that?
on
What would be
now.
Yeah, I've never
What
lied.
benefit does he have to lie about that?
That's right. And now Amy in Villa Park brings up an interesting point. If Kevin stole the quarter that was worth that much, that's a felony. And what we should probably do is call the police and have them arrest Kevin in his home right now and send him to maximum security federal prison, because that is theft.
Is there coin jail?
No, there's just jail.
He's going to be in Gen Pop?
He's going to be in shit box.
He's not going to survive?
You think there's coin jail? No, he's going to prison.
He'll be in there with murderers?
Yeah, and he should be.
Yeah, no, that's what happens with prison, Brian. It's not separate per crime.
I want
It's not like
justice.
this is the one. We have this murderer prison, and we have a theft prison, and we have didn't listen to police when they pulled him over prison, and then we have how many prisons do you think there are?
Well, there's certainly that white collar prison where those guys go golfing.
Yeah, not Kevin. Kevin's not in the white collar prison.
But I got to be honest, I like Kevin. But he stole it. I get it. It's probably Kevin.
I mean, do you like him enough to let a $1.7 million go? Because I would put him in that El Salvador prison. Everyone's talking about for $1.7 million. It's none of my business.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101, still trying to solve the problem of the missing $1 million quarter, which is what it will be called going forward. In 2025, the quarter that we used to flip for Clash with Kenzie disappeared. A fake quarter came back, a quarter that I had that's worth $1.7 million in the last auction of one of them went. 600 quarters exist of the 1796 draped bust small eagle quarter, which Kenzie did a deep dive on and found out it is a woman with a large bust.
Wow.
And so then I went to
With
Google
draping,
Images.
like a dress draping on it.
Yeah.
Well, because during the break, Brian went, "Why would you name a quarter that?" And I go, "Well, they're just describing what it looks like."
Yeah. I didn't look at it carefully enough because it's very dirty. It's an old quarter.
Well, it's very old, yeah.
If I could get it back, I'd clean it. Somebody took it, and Lauren placed this old-ass 2003 quarter in here thinking I'm going to, just go, oh, that's fine.
It's such a Lauren thing to do. I'm so disappointed.
But we still believe Kevin possibly stole, or maybe they're together. They're in cahoots.
Knowing them, they probably are.
Now, 773 checked in and said, what if Kevin just treated the quarter like a regular quarter? It seems like a Kevin thing to do. And he used it to pay for parking or something.
That feels like that's what happened. That's the most likely story I've heard so far.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like Kevin heard the show yesterday, was like, "Oh my God, I went to the vending machine yesterday, and now everyone's upset." And then he brought in a quarter last night, set it down, but he didn't realize that he didn't have a $1.7 million quarter in his pocket, and now the whole thing's a big problem.
Yeah.
A lot of people,
big one.
a lot of people doubting me too, like saying, I don't believe Brian had a quarter that was worth $1.7 million because he would have cashed it in and bought a house in St. Charles like he talks about having all the time.
You do talk about that a lot.
And I have a rebuttal for that.
Uh-huh.
Just like my Playboys, I'm waiting for the right time to cash in. It'll probably be worth more in another 5 years.
That's what I hear about on CNBC all the time is the quarter market is only just beginning. It's only going to go up as time goes on.
Because think, we're not going to have – does anybody have a quarter on them right now?
I don't.
See, they're disappearing. So soon there'll be no paper or metal money.
Cashless society, that's how they get you.
Yeah, and then I'll have that quarter.
An even bigger hint of like what Brian would or wouldn't do. I think that if you listen to the show, you would know he doesn't put his family first.
That's correct.
So the odds of him selling that quarter to go buy a home for his family, that doesn't even track.
Thank you, Kenzie. Thank you very much.
Exactly. I got your back.
I appreciate you knowing me. All right, after Dexter and the Moon Rocks, a chance to get to Bonnaroo, a full VIP trip, and $2,000 for travel? 2.5 minutes away, we'll give you that key word to get you there.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Who wants to go to Bonnaroo VIP style?
Hey, happy campers. It's your chance to join the Wilderfolk with a luxury VIP weekend at Bonnaroo. Standard messaging and data rates apply. Please don't text and drive.
Q101.
So Bonnaroo is June 12th through June 15th. You got Queens of the Stone Age, Hozier, Vampire Weekend. There's like 100 bands there. It's amazing. And you can be there. The ultimate Bonnaroo VIP weekend. 2 VIP Centeroo tickets, glamping, and a luxury Bell tent, including a bed, power, air conditioning, plus $2,000 in travel to get there. $2,000 to cover everything. All you got to do is text the national keyword CAMP, C-A-M-P, to 95819. So it's a different text number than usual. Make sure it's 95819. Text the word CAMP for a chance to win. Now, we have the headlines on the way, not too far off, where you decide the content of the show based on some of the funniest headlines of the week. A couple more texts came in about this missing quarter situation that Lauren and Kevin were in possible collusion because Case lost his exclusive Linkin Park vinyl last year, and allegedly Lauren was the one who took it.
Thank you to Adam for bringing that up on the text line. Yes, I am a big vinyl guy. Lauren, not a big vinyl person. That did not stop Lauren from taking all of the exclusive Linkin Park vinyl that was dropped off at the studio 2 years ago. That is in her possession, much like Brian's $1 million quarter.
Also, a check-in from 708. Lauren and Kevin check their Find My Phones. I think they're both at O'Hare right now, getting ready to escape with the $1.7 million quarter.
They're on the way to the Cayman Islands.
Yeah, to live large the rest of their life. If Lauren's not in today, that's what happened.
That's what happened.
And Kevin should be in tonight, filling in for Lindsay. So we'll see what happens. Also, finally from 219, Lauren and Kevin, son of a bitch.
Jonas, son of a bitch.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Head the headlines. You decide the content of the show. We do all the work for you. We skim through all the funniest headlines of the week, and we have to rule out some that it's hard sometimes. There's over 100, and we narrow it down to 2, so the choice is easy for you. You text in headline 1 or headline 2 based on the headline you like the most and want to hear us break down Brian, Kenzie, and Case. So here is headline number 1 today. Man arrested for death of friend who claimed he could, quote, dodge bullets after smoking marijuana.
That's tough. That's a tough way to find out. You can't do it.
No.
Sucks.
Oh, man. Both of these are gold because I'm the only one that knows the stories completely. They are so good. I'm afraid to bury both of them in this segment because the next one is much more to the point without as much pizzazz, but still, headline number 2. A guy battered his roommate with a bologna sandwich. That's all that headline gives you, but both stories are gold. So you decide at 312-591-8300 the content of the next break by texting in headline 1 or headline 2.
Give it to me one more time.
So headline 1, a little long here. Man arrested for death of friend who claimed he could, quote, dodge bullets after smoking marijuana.
Learning the hard way is just the worst in certain circumstances.
That's tough.
Headline 2, a guy battered his roommate with a bologna sandwich. 312-591-8300. Text in headline 1 or headline 2. You decide after Depeche Mode. We'll break it down.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101 Head to Headlines, where you decide the content of the show. We gave you 2 headlines before Depeche Mode, and we'll give you the results in a second of which story you want to hear us break down. And here we go. Headline number 1 was, man arrested for death of friend who claimed he could dodge bullets after smoking marijuana.
Gosh.
And headline number 2, short to the point, but with just as much comedy. A guy battered his roommate with a bologna sandwich. This was tough. It was close, and that's what both stories I can tell you are incredible. But our rule is we never talk about the story again that you don't choose. And you guys have chosen on the headlines. Headline number 1: man arrested for death of friend who claimed he could, quote, dodge bullets after smoking marijuana. So let's get into it. It's your choice, and here we go.
Oh my gosh, Brian.
Man arrested for death of friend who claimed he could dodge bullets after smoking marijuana. This happened in Salt Lake City. A man was arrested after allegedly smoking marijuana with a friend and shooting him after the friend said he could dodge bullets. That's in the arrest documents. So Ashton Jonathan Mann, 23 years old, was arrested just after 4 a.m. That should be noted, because they're smoking weed at 4 a.m., and that's the kind of ideas that come into your head at 4 a.m. I bet I could dodge bullets if you shoot me, because we're so high right now. Like, if it was 2 in the afternoon, those thoughts wouldn't have come in.
No, you never hear about this at 2 p.m.
No.
Oh, noon? Absolutely not. You have your life together by noon. Everyone does. Come on.
Well, I would just argue that the same level of bakedness would be thinking about getting food at noon on a Sunday.
Well, lunchtime.
Yeah. Hey, man, it'll be cool if we got Fritos and cream cheese and...
4 for 4 from Wendy's.
Oh, exactly.
Shout out Wendy's.
Yep.
Okay.
4 a.m., you're like, I bet you can shoot at me and I can dodge the bullets, bro. So according to the affidavit, officials with, and this is sad, obviously, but according to officials, the Unified Police responded to Kearns, Utah, after receiving reports of a man shot in the chest. That'd be a terrible report to reply to, obviously. Officers found the victim unresponsive, took him to a local hospital where he sadly passed away. So, in the interview with detectives, after he was read his Miranda rights, Mann reportedly told officials he and his friend had smoked marijuana. I remember I noted 4 a.m. this happened.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Starting at 8 p.m.
Oof.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of weed.
Neither of us, all 3 of us, are not regular marijuana users.
No.
So I don't know if 8 hours of smoking weed is a lot. It sounds like a lot.
It feels like a lot.
That's a long time to do anything. 8 hours is a long time.
Like, I've gotten drunk and sober in 8 hours before. Twice. Like, you drink, you get sober, you start drinking again, and you're sober again.
Like St. Patty's Day, like nap, rally, go back out.
Hell yes.
Yes.
Lizzie McNeil's, make sure you're there. Friday the 14th, before St. Patty's Day, with Brian and Kenzie's St. Patty's Day broadcast.
That's right.
So they started smoking weed at 8, and we're talking about guns in the kitchen.
About guns belonging in the kitchen, or they were in the kitchen talking about guns?
They were in the kitchen.
Okay.
Which, it's too bad they didn't start talking about food.
You would think that'd be the natural conclusion, the natural way to go.
This is what
Or
he told.
did they see guns sitting there in the kitchen? Why are these guns in the kitchen?
We should take these outside and do something with
Yeah,
them.
this is crazy. They shouldn't be in here. They should be somewhere else. Our hands.
Let's continue with the story and see how the gun ended up in the hand. So, Mann and his friend later went to the detached garage to continue the conversation about guns that started at 8 o'clock smoking marijuana. I don't know why they weren't done with the conversation and moved on to something else like, hey, nice Corvette or whatever that was in the garage.
Just anything else.
Anything else. They were reportedly handling 2 different handguns when the victim said, I can dodge a bullet, bro. That's what he said in the report.
Is that an exact quote? I
Yep.
can dodge a bullet, bro.
I can dodge a bullet, bro.
Oh, who would have thought that he couldn't?
So then again, the guy that shot his friend, sadly, Mann told officials he and his friend unloaded each gun before pointing a firearm at the victim and pulling the trigger, with his friend trying to jump out of the way to prove he could move before the trigger was pulled. So as baked as they were testing it. These are scientists in a way. They were trying to test the theory, like the trigger goes and I could move.
But I feel like you need something else to test that. You can't be like, no, I did pull the trigger. No, I already did jump. This is opinion. Like, how do you know? What?
Yeah, it's I just applaud their efforts in testing it, which is really impressive.
I'm very happy he wasn't like, I should actually dodge real bullets. That's good.
Yeah. So they did that about 6 times even. I mean, scientists don't test our food that much before we get it. So these guys they're good guys, they sound like. So man said the final time the gun fired, striking the victim in the chest. So they thought they fully unloaded the guns when he was doing this, and there was 1 bullet in the chamber, which always seems to happen in these situations, especially when you've been smoking weed for 8 hours. He rendered right away, so he was, terrified. He tried to help his friend. And after obtaining a search warrant, the officials found 2 handguns as well as ammunition and magazines and, quote, drug paraphernalia consistent with marijuana use. They found some bongs in there, I guess.
Do you, by a small chance, since the other person in this story is deceased, think that maybe this friend in his head was like, I'm going to leave 1 in the chamber because I know he can't dodge bullets. I'm totally going to prove it to him. And now he's like, he can get his practice rounds, but I know he can't do this. And then he didn't think it all the way through. And now he's like, uh-oh. Well, it was an accident.
Certainly acting like a scientist in this story of testing it so many times. I don't know obviously he's at fault. It's an accident. Just don't smoke marijuana around guns. Can I just get that out there?
Oh, okay. If you want to be controversial this morning.
I'm just trying to put a public service message out there.
You can do anything now.
I know.
It's crazy.
Brian used to be fun.
Yeah. No, don't do it. Don't shoot and smoke.
Huh.
Also, don't shoot guns at your friends and see if you can dodge bullets.
That's number 2. That's number 2.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
All right, so we just did head-to-headlines, and this is going to kind of tie in a little bit to music entertainment news coming up in about 5 minutes. We got Rise Against, and we'll have Gil Curtis with your headlines, because we found some old anti-drug public service announcements from rock stars that will play on the air that are very funny. You got to hear this audio in about 4 minutes. But it relates to what we just did in Head-to-Headlines, where the winning headline was, man arrested for death of friend who claimed he could, quote, dodge bullets after smoking marijuana. Now, they smoked marijuana for 8 hours, according to our weed heads like Fitzy. Sorry, Fitzy, calling you out here. But he said if you smoke weed for 8 hours, you'd smoke yourself sober unless they had really, really bad weed. Because they smoked from 8 p.m. to 4 in the morning.
Uh-huh.
So he's saying, and we don't have the knowledge of that, so I'm just going by Fitzy, that they would probably be sober by the time they pulled the trigger.
That you would smoke so much you would essentially do a 360 and come out normal on the other end.
I've drank myself sober in periods like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible to drink so much you end up sober.
That's what I'm confused about.
I thought I was.
I don't think that just science. I don't know. I don't think it works, but okay.
What's on the text line, Kenzie?
Zach texted in and said those guys should have been drinking and playing with guns like men. So that's good. Amazing advice, Zach.
What else, Case?
Well, Brian, you caused a controversy. You made this big PSA about how we shouldn't do drugs and then play with guns,
Just trying to keep our listeners.
Just trying to, make some controversy this morning. The text line has responded. Mike checked it and said, don't smoke weed around guns, ? Okay, boomer.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, you've gone woke. It's a shame.
Yeah,
I used to think you were cool.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Boomer.
Sludge has left the building, am I right?
That's right. And finally, Edward checked in and said they were scientists, but then they got sponsors.
Jonas, son of a bitch.
Who is that, honey?
Jonas Miller, he's a night crawler. We all started out in the same lab, and Jonas went out and got himself some corporate sponsors. He's in it for the money, not the science.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q 101.